Right, so this is a bit of a weird one. This is not the video we were planning to shoot today, but I think it's going to be very topical, very interesting, so bear with me and let me explain. The video we came here to shoot today was a Mark II Golf GTI, SL65, SL55, RS4, BMW M5, BMW M6, BMW M3, a really nice, well-shot cinematic video. However, when we got here, the local petrol station has no fuel. So it literally is out of fuel. We're all suffering with what's going on in the world globally, but locally in Ireland, farmers and hauliers are staging protests about fuel, effectively. Now that problem with the no fuel is being compounded by the fact that I drove here today in my own 7 Series diesel, and I got here with 20 kilometers, and I live 59 kilometers away from where I am right now. So I've very luckily been handed this car. So I very kindly and very luckily been handed this car. This is a Cooper Tavascan. I don't even know what battery it is, and this is not going to be a Cooper Tavascan video. What we're going to turn this into is we're going to use this for the weekend. I'm going to drive home from here now. We're going to see what it's really like to live with. I have had EVs before, and I'm a massive fan of EVs, and I really am, but I've always been able to plan for having them, where I'm going, routes, all that kind of stuff. This is the first time ever I'm just going to have an EV, and I don't have a charger at the house because we only moved into my house recently. So this is going to be a warts and all experience for the weekend of what it's like to live with an actual EV. Right, so let's hit the road. We've got 58 kilometers to go. We're going to have motorway driving in here. We're going to have some sort of town, urban and suburban driving. I've got to collect kids. I've got to do all that kind of stuff. So we're leaving now with 408 kilometers of range and 84% battery. Again, that's a guesstimator in these things. So that's going to be based on the last people who were driving it. It could have been lads in the garage where I was driving it who were kicking its head in to go to the shop. So that could improve or it could get worse. Let's just see. But what we'll do from here anyway is let's get this show on the road. We'll get moving. So right, we're on to the motorway section of the journey, and this is the first thing you just have to change in EVs. I have enough experience to know. Generally, I would clip along at 120. But right now, I've just got the cruise control set at 109. You got to stay under there. If you want to get that 1-for-1 on your indicated range, you have to stay around that level of speed because you're just coming up against aerodynamic resistance. And I know that already. And I don't want to turn this into a I don't like EVs thing, because I absolutely do like EVs. And I want this to be a real world, real application video of how you're going to have to use your EV. Right, so we have made it back to my house now. We've made it back with 69% battery and an estimated range of 321 kilometers. I was probably going a little bit faster than I should have been on the motorway. But from here, I have no more motorway journeys planned. So this is going to be my entire weekend from here, dropping kids, picking up kids, doing what I got to do, shopping, out with my wife, out with my family, all that sort of stuff. We'll document it from here and we'll see how we get on. It's going to improve significantly around the city because that's what these things like. Right, so today is our first day just using this car as a family car. We've got quite a bit of just stuff to do. So we're starting today with our rugby training. Isn't that right, buddy? We're off to St. Mary's first, then we have a load of chores to do. Bottle bank runs, can runs, play dates, cinema, shopping, just a load of stuff to see what this thing is going to be like to live with for the weekend. Right, so we're back from kids rugby and I'm still in my mucky training gear. So what we're going to do now is just life admin stuff we have to do on the weekends, all of us. And I understand it's not the most exciting video in the world, but this is just the reality of having an electric car and it's the weekend. Right, okay, so the next job we have to do is that in Ireland, basically, we have to give our cans back into a machine or the government gets the 15-cent deposit. In fact, it's not the government, it's a private company. So another reason why this is kind of pertinent. We've got a 14 km trip from my home to get to a village called Newcastle in County Dublin, where they have one of those big machines. The important part about this trip, though, is most of it is that sort of motorway speed, that kind of stuff. So we've got to go out of the city and way into the sort of the suburbs. So it's relevant. I'll give you a check-in, as I said. We've got 93 km done since yesterday evening when we picked the car up in Drogheda. So let's head on to this. I want to do a bit more before I really get into the data of what we have with regard to how to live with one of these things. I'm probably going to wait till we're charging actually before I start talking about that. Right, so on to the third one, and this is like traffic, school runs, all that kind of stuff. I've just dropped my little lad to school there. I just want to talk about the actual car itself, and I don't mean the the Tavascan aspect, just electric cars, what it's been like. And I think that they'll all share. And look, the first thing about it, driving around in this kind of situation, stoppy-starty traffic these mornings, it's fantastic. Like, it's really, 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 really good. In this situation, it just shines. It's so easy or something, for want of a different word. Like, it's just stop and go, like a go-kart when you were a kid. The other thing was, now this morning we got into it, it was only 4.5 degrees when we got up this morning. So we're in a weird period of time in Ireland where we're heading into like late spring, but it's still overnight, it gets super cold. So straight into it, heat on straight away, instant heat. It was very good. Now, it absolutely, in that window, when you turned on the heat to full from totally cold, if like the range dropped just incredibly, and I was looking at it going, oh holy god, like, is this it? But as soon as you turn it off, your range goes back up because it's a gesto meter. So once it's on, it has to presume that you're going to leave it on for the remainder of the trip that you're doing. So as soon as I turned it back, we jumped right back up, and the cabin was warm enough quite quickly to not really need it, if you know what I mean. Like, it got to the point where the ambient temperature in the cab was properly hot in about 3 minutes. So that's not bad. The sort of, if I had a negative about it, it's that I'm looking at the charge now, and I am starting to sort of become, right, I'm going to need to start charging, like, because as I said earlier, I don't have a charger at the house. So it's more a case now of like, I need to start planning to charge. Now, I've got a day's work to do. I've loads of places to be, and charging the car hasn't been part of that thinking. So what we'll do from here is I'm just going to crack on, do what I got to do, and then I'll report back into you in a while. So just a quick check-in after this morning. So dropped my young lad to school, and then on the motorway, saw the range go down quite significantly. But I'm after spending the last sort of 2 hours in industrial estates and heavy traffic and stoppy-starty stuff in the suburbs, and my range has actually increased from where I left the house at this morning. So that's pretty good. Right, so this is the final check-in after the weekend. I've covered 169 kilometers in this car, right? But I'm going to give you the stats. We left on Friday. I have the details here, excuse me. 84% battery and 408 kilometers of range. We did a trip from Drogheda to my house, and we ended up at my house with 69% battery and 321 kilometers of range. And that was only to cover a 59 kilometer trip because I wasn't quite behaving myself on the motorway. I was going a bit faster than I should be. This is where it all gets weird though. When you look at those stats, as we sit here now, I have 42% battery left, and I have 210 kilometers of range. And that's because yesterday I did a weird amount of motorway running on the weekend. But yesterday, I spent a huge amount of time in the city in stop-start traffic. So now the range is starting to fly back up because it's been madly efficient. We've got more range now that, like, compared to battery percentage than we had when we left. So like it's getting better and better and better. But I think what we're going to do now, because this is a thing I want to show people who are going to be having to jump across into EV quite quickly. Like, this is going to be the difference. We're going to go from here now. We're going to charge this car, and I'm just going to clip back at the pace I would normally do in my own diesel car. And I'm going to show you what the difference is. And I think we'll learn some lessons from that. So into the nav for the car, Circle K, 1 kilometer away, 5 minutes. Yep, let's go. So this is a bit of a problem I was not expecting. Right, so this is just a real thing that's happening. We're after pulling up to the charge stations in Templeville Road in Templeogue, and they're out of service. EV charger coming soon. I can see them. They're under some big packaging or whatever, so we have to go again. And look, this is a warts and all version of having one of these cars. I want to show you the whole thing. Now, I do have a summation at the end, so hang on for that, but we need to go somewhere else to charge now anyway. Right, so we found some alternative chargers up at Ballymount, which I probably should have gone to anyway, because they're actually on my way to Drogheda. So we're going to fly up there. We'll jump on the chargers and we'll have a little chat about what we're going to do. So excellent. We're after pulling up here now, and we've got a choice of 2 chargers, fast chargers in Ballymount. So let's stick around charge and see what the sort of costs are with this stuff. Right, so let's see how we get on here. We want to go CCS, yes. Plug it in. Contactless payment, 73 cents per kilowatt this is going to cost us. Right, we'll go for that. Press start. We are allowing your car to start charging. We hear the click. We have the, yes. So we're charging. So let's get back inside and check what sort of stats we have in there. Right, so we're in charging now, and I have to say this is very impressive. It's taken 3 or 4 minutes, say, to go from 41% to 49%. We are taking in 7.5 kilowatts per minute. We are gaining 7 kilometers each minute, and we've actually gained about 47 kilometers in that short period of time. What I'm going to do here, though, anyways, I'm going to get it up to 60%. I'm going to show you what the range is, and then I'm going to clip back at just the normal speed. I probably could have done a better job on Friday, truth be told, but I was keen to just get back and get past, like, if there was, those convoys and the blockages. So I was floating around 105, sometimes creeping up to 120, 110. I wasn't doing the thing where you should just sit, cruise control locked on, and just sit at 105 to 109 at a maximum. And then you'll get 1 for 1 from it. So it becomes efficient that way. But what I'll do here is I'm just going to go for it. I'll set it at 60%. I'll give you a check-in of what the range is at 60%. And then I'm just going to crack on, and we're going to see where we are. Now, here's another interesting thing, right? At 50% now, we are up to, where are we? 256 kilometers of battery range. And that's because how this thing works. This is an interesting piece on these, and it's interesting to know. When you get into one of these and it tells you what the range is, that's a guessometer. That's using its last available data to go, right, I'm after living on the motorway for the past 4 hours, so my range is no good. But yesterday, when I spent all that time driving around, I was out in the suburbs, I was in industrial estates, that kind of stuff, lots of stopping and starting, lots of that traffic, which it loved. That guessometer changed. And this morning I've done the same. I've been in rush hour traffic to drop kids to school, went down to the other charger in Templeogue, again in bad traffic, back up to Ballymount in bad traffic. And my range is just massively increasing. And that's an important thing to remember with these things. Right, so we've got to 60% battery. We're at 298 kilometers of range. I'm just going to take a quick photo of that and I'll insert it. And then we're gonna head off. I'll show you exactly how far it is to Western Motors. And then we're gonna head in that direction and just see. Now again, I'm setting the car up to fail this time, but it's because I want to show you that these things will work for you, but you got to drive them a certain way. So I'm making this fail now, but it'll be interesting to see how bad I can get it to. Right, so we're leaving with battery, 2 kilometers what we ended on before we had to change, and we've got 63 kilometers to go. So my next check-in will be when we're there. Right, so we've reached our destination. It was 63 kilometers from the point we left. We left with 302 kilometers is what it ended up at before I was able to turn it off and get the plug out and all that kind of stuff. 60% exactly is what I charged it to. So we've got here a 63 kilometer run, 45%, so 15% battery. And now we're down to 196 kilometers of range. So the reason I've done this to set this car up to fail is because the last time there was a big EV movement, a lot of this type of thing happened. People thought you could just get into this car, drive it like you used to drive your own car. And you simply can't. They're a different thing. You have to drive one of these on the motorway at about 100k to 109k as a maximum. And then we would get 1 for 1. So what I'm saying from that is, had I done that, we'd be sitting at about 250 kilometers of range, and we'd also be at about 53% battery. So I made it behave badly. I made it inefficient. And I can tell you why I know this is true. I recently did a range test in an ID7 to Waterford, and we sat at 105 kilometers and we got 1 for 1 all the way. That ID7 has the same the same motor as this car, same battery, and same control units for the car. So they will do it. But the point is, you have to change your driving style to get it to do it. Now, over the weekend using this car around the city, it was phenomenal. It was fantastic. It was improving all the time. I got it down as low as I think like 14 kilowatts per 100 kilometers. And that was without resetting the ranges. So it had started really high, because when a car like this is in a place like this, it's young lads getting into it to move it from pillar to post, move it around. Its efficiency suffers massively. It's getting driven down to the shops locally. It's going on test drives. People are checking out the performance, that kind of stuff. So it thinks that that's the way it's always going to be driven, and its average guess is just bad. As this car sits here now with 45% battery, it's got less range now than it had this morning with 41% battery. So these are all the things you have to think about when you're driving one of these things. It's not the same as a petrol car. It's not the same as a diesel car. It's an electric car, and you have to drive it like an electric car. Right. So my summation for this car for the weekend, the problems I encountered with it, I don't have a home charger. Ideally, I'd have a home charger. If I had a home charger, you just wouldn't even have to think about it. Really and truly, you just plug it in, let it do its thing. Take advantage of your cheap rates at night, or your Saturday rate, or your Sunday rate. Would have been fine. So the charging situation we came up against this morning wouldn't have been a problem. However, even with that first one not working, it took me like 5 seconds and 5 minutes of driving to get to another one that did work and was completely free. Wasn't really a problem, but I'm Dublin based, so that's relevant. In terms of how it just behaved as a car, it was beautiful, absolutely lovely, nicer to drive around town than a petrol or diesel powered car. Absolutely, it's stop and go, it's really quiet, it's really nippy, good fun, nice car, does its thing. In terms of the chores I had to do for the weekend, that boring bit in the middle, it was relevant. I left it in for a reason. It was great. Like, it had tons of room. I never for a second didn't have enough room, because EVs are bigger inside than your traditional car because there's no intrusion from the running gear. So it was fine. It did all that stuff, chewed it up perfectly. The run we did this morning, where I set it up to fail, I did for a reason. I wanted to show you something. And what I wanted to show you was, if you got into this car, and a lot of us are going to have to, let's be realistic, and you drove it the same way you drove your Golf, your Superb, whatever it is you're after getting out of to get into one of these, if you drive it the same way on the motorway, you're going to think that the efficiency is terrible, it's horrific, it's all that stuff. But it isn't. It's driving styles. That's the thing that's going to have to change to make this work for you. It's going to take us longer to get places. You're going to have to sacrifice that few minutes on longer runs now, is what I'm really saying. Again, if you had a home charger, like I could do this run This run would be 120 kilometers for me every day, say, for argument's sake. And if I had a home charger, it wouldn't matter because I'd just go home, charge it, no problem. But if it's a thing that you're going to go, you're looking at doing a 200k trip down to Waterford or whatever from Dublin, you're going to have to sit at those kind of speeds. You're going to have to sit at the 110, 105 sort of speeds, sacrifice the time, and you'll get the efficiency. You'll get one driven for one indicated. It will work for you. The next thing I think is, on a micro sort of level, politics-wise, I don't see the situation changing anytime soon. I think a new normal has been set in terms of pricing for fuel. I think it's only going to increase. Governments are going to continue to tax it hugely. Superpowers are fighting for oil resources, and they're doing it to sort of power, a lot of tech power generators, let's say. I don't see it changing. I just don't. I think more and more of us are going to have to go into these things. And the point of the whole experience here, showing you the good and the bad, was to show you that these things will work for pretty much everyone. They really, really will. But you're going to have to change the way you drive your car. If you think you can get out of it and just drive it the way you drove your old car, you're simply wrong. And it's going to be no fun experience for you. Around town, it's going to be better. On the motorway, it's going to be worse. And it's that simple. But will it work for you? Absolutely, it'll work for you if you're willing to change the way you drive cars. So yeah, let us know in the comments what you thought. Was it a fair test? Was it an unfair test? Was I biased? Was I not biased? What do you think? Put your comments in there and we'll have a chat with you about it. Other than that though, whether you're a private person looking to buy EV or you're a car dealer looking to stock EVs, get in touch with us at the car site and we will put you in front of the right people. We will give you the proper steer on these things. And finally, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe because we have plenty more where this came from.